podcast where we delve into where we delve deep into stories and experiences of individuals navigating life with rare conditions. I'm your host, Joanna, and today I'm honored to introduce you to our special guest, Charleigh. Charleigh is not only an undergraduate student at Pratt University, but she's also a remarkable writer and inspiring journey to share, despite facing the challenges of postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome, or POTS, and GastroParesis. Charleigh has not let these conditions define her. Instead, she pursued her passion for writing, penning two captivating books titled "Don't Fall for the Targrt," it's Rule 25, and Deamon Scout. Join us today as we explore Charleigh's resilience, creativity, and unique insights she brings to both her writing and her journey with rare conditions. Get ready for enlightening conversation that promises to uplift, inspire, and forge a deeper connection with our community. This is Rare Connection. So, can you tell us about? Can you share with us your what it's like living with POTS and gastroparesis on a daily basis?
Yes, so POTS on a daily basis, so day to day, the biggest issues are the dizziness and the fatigue. So oftentimes, like in my house, I have things set on higher shelves because like bending over can cause massive waves of dizziness. And then I tend to tire easier than other people, and it's just a lot of avoidance of triggers of flare-ups, because when I am in a flare-up, which thankfully is not a daily occurrence, but when I am in a flare-up, it can be quite bad. I can be immobile, I can be unable to function regularly, and oftentimes I need help and assistance in order to do even like basic tasks. But thankfully, I've gotten to a point where flare-ups are fewer and further between. So typically day to day, the biggest issues tend to be dizziness and fatigue and just trying to avoid things that other people can easily do, but for me, I know would be a big trigger. And then the gastroparesis is something that has slowly improved since I first got it back in 2019. When I first got gastroparesis, I was put on an all liquid diet, just like my body forcibly required me to be on an all liquid diet. I would try and eat anything solid, and I would instantly feel super nauseous and super full, and like I couldn't eat anything else, and I felt like I was going to be sick, and I had a lot of stomach pain with it. And then once I got diagnosed, and this took like a year of me being on like just liquid diet, trying to figure out what the crap is wrong with me, because clearly something was wrong. I can't eat anything. And once I finally got the diagnosis, I was able then to treat it a little bit more, and I've slowly been able to treat it where I'm now up to a more regular diet. There are still some foods on a daily basis where I tend to avoid, but through slowly reintroducing foods since I got that diagnosis way back when, I'm up to a more standard diet. But like foods that are high in fiber and like red meats tend to be foods that I need to avoid on a daily basis because they can re-trigger the gastroparesis symptoms, and then I can be very nauseous and not able to eat for a few days, and then I have to reintroduce foods back up. So it's been a lot of just being cautious and being a lot more aware of myself and my body and like what's around me than most people my age have to be.
Mm-hmm. So how were you diagnosed?
I was diagnosed with gastroparesis. It took about a year, and finally a GI doctor was like, we should run this test. And the test was that they put some sort of radioactive material on scrambled eggs, and they forced me to eat it, which was really difficult because I was on an all liquid diet. and I was struggled to eat this because they were not great eggs because they were hospital eggs with radiation on them. And then every hour on the hour, they took an X-ray screening to see where in my digestive tract those eggs were. And typically after like 2 hours, it'll have moved through the stomach area. And I was told that like at the start, the person running the test told me, she was like, you should be out of here in like 3 hours max. And I was like, okay, sounds great. And then come hour 6, the eggs had still not moved out of my digestive, out of the stomach region of the stomach. And they went, okay, well, that's a problem because typically, especially at your age, they should have moved. So that was kind of the test that led to the diagnosis of the gastroparesis. And it just took forever for that test to be given because it's not a typical disease for people my age to have, and it is a rare condition. So they like ruled out every possible other thing first, which is frustrating because then it takes so much longer, but it also is just how a medical field often works. And then for the POTS, I was diagnosed, my doctor, she was really wonderful at the time. My practitioner at the time was really wonderful. And she knew someone else who had recently been diagnosed with POTS. So she kind of could tell some of the symptoms. And like with the gastroparesis with POTS, they also have to go through everything else first. So it takes quite a long time to get diagnosis for rare conditions. But she was like, I just had someone who went through this, who had similar symptoms, and we couldn't figure it out. And she ended up going to the Mayo Clinic, and this was what they discovered. So we're going to try the test for this. And the test for POTS is that they measure your heart rate from laying down to sitting up to standing. And depending on the fluctuation and like how high it spikes and how fast it comes back down to a regular heart rate can determine if you have POTS or not. And my heart rate would spike up really, really high, really, really fast, and it would not come back down. So I got diagnosed with POTS, and then I started, the treatment for POTS is pretty much just eat a lot of salt and drink a lot of water. And that somehow started really helping. And it was like, well, this is what it is then, because the test came back positive and the treatment really helped make a huge difference.
Oh. So are you still on any kind of a diet with the, are you still on the liquid diet or?
No, with the gastroparesis, I'm back up to almost regular diet. I still am avoiding like high fibrous foods and red meats because those are still really hard to digest for my body with the gastroparesis. Mm-hmm. But for the most part, most other foods I've been able to like slowly reintroduce and like work my way back up to having a more regular diet.
Mm-hmm. That's good. Let's see. How have your conditions impacted your academic journey at Pratt University and your pursuit of writing?
Yes, so I originally started here at Pratt back in 2019, and that was when about like the first week that I got here was when I started showing signs of gastroparesis and when I was suddenly on an all liquid diet. So like I moved into campus, I moved away from home for the first time, and then I was suddenly like super sick. And at first I thought maybe it was travel or homesickness or something because it was just like I couldn't eat and that's not normal. And then I was like, well, maybe it has something to do with the POTS because that one I've had since 8th grade. So I kind of had it a little bit longer. So I tried to do the salt and water regimen that is the cure that helps get me out of flare-ups for POTS, and that didn't help at all. And I slowly started going, okay, this isn't normal. And I went to a couple different GI doctors here in the city. I got a couple different strange diagnoses to try here in the city. I had one doctor tell me that my gallbladder needed to be removed like today, and I had to go get imaging done, and it needed to come out right now. And like I finally got the imaging done, and they were like, your gallbladder's totally fine. We are not doing any sort of surgery or anything. You're fine. And I was like, oh, okay. Happy that it's not that, but so what is it then? And I ended up having to go on medical leave from Pratt because of my health conditions, because of the gastroparesis, because we still didn't have answers. It was causing me a massive amount of pain. And it was getting to the point where I couldn't focus in my classes and I couldn't function on my own very easily, and I wasn't eating anything. So I ended up going on medical leave back in 2019. And then COVID ended up shutting down the university anyway, like a few months later. And everyone went online. So then the next year I was online, which was really helpful with my health issues to be able to have online, an option to be online, and everyone was just online.
Yeah.
And during that time, I finally was able to get the diagnosis of gastroparesis, and I was able to start then moving towards having having a more regular diet and coming back into being able to be myself. But during that time when I was on medical leave then from school is when I first started seriously writing and like going, because I went home and I was like, well, I want to do something. I can't just sit here because that's not the type of person I am. Like if I sit for too long, I just get really sad. I need to be like working on something. And that's when I first started like seriously writing. And then during that year when everyone was online, when I was able to be fully online for school, I actually signed a 6-book contract with a publishing house for that book. And I really realized like, okay, this is what I want to do. I want to be a writer and I want to be writing. So because of the challenges I faced, as horrible as they were, they did set me up well for this track in the future. And I'm really lucky I'm at a school that has been extremely understanding of my health issues. Pratt has an amazing learning access center. I have a learning access center advisor who, for anything health related, anything with my conditions, any assistance that I need, she is wonderful at helping me to manage and make sure that I'm getting what I need here at Pratt in order to make sure that I'm able to achieve academics success while dealing with all of my health issues. But my writing is something that I often can do even when I'm not feeling 100%. And it's often something I like to do when I'm not feeling 100% because entering a different world and creating a different world and storytelling, it really helps get my mind off of what I'm dealing with and what I'm struggling with in the current present.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. What inspired you to write books? To write your books? Don't forget the Target and don't fall for the Target and Deamon Scout.
Deamon Scout I wrote during the pandemic, and what really inspired that one was I needed something light and funny in my life, and that is a comical middle grade story about a demon who partners up with a Girl Scout to sell the most Girl Scout cookies in the country. And it's very heartfelt and it's very light and it's very comedic. And that was just what I needed at that time for me as I was dealing with health issues and dealing with the pandemic and dealing with the fear of if I caught COVID, how would that possibly trigger my chronic illnesses? Because when I get sick, it always seems to trigger both my chronic illnesses. And then whenever I'm sick, like even if it's a head cold that like my friend could get over in a day, if I got that same head cold, I could be out for like a month. So it was kind of dealing with that and just the heaviness of the world and the situation and what I was going through and being on medical leave from college. I needed a book that was light and fun, and that was what Deamon Scout really was. And that's really what inspired that book. And then for Rule 25, Don't Fall for the Target, that one was really inspired by wanting to write a book about my family, which has always been so supportive of me and so there for me through all my health issues. And it is a book about family, but it's also a book about crime families, so it is a little bit different, but then the setting is a place that's really near and dear to my dad's side of the family, up in northern Wisconsin. And then the main character's name is the name of a friend of mine who has been really helpful through all my struggles. So that one was really inspired by family.
Mm-hmm. Can you tell us about can you tell us about the themes and messages you explore in your writing?
The main theme and message that I really love to explore is the blurring of the line between good and evil. So like in Deamon Scout, our main character is a demon, which is typically like an evil person. But by making them the main character, I can kind of blur that line and show like his side of the story and how he goes through things. And with Rule 25, Don't Fall for the Target, our main character is the daughter of the head of a crime family. So she's like part of this super intricate crime family, and like she's going on a crime mission throughout the book and like doing criminal acts and like is this typical villain type character. And I really like taking the character who would be seen typically as like the evil bad person and making them the main character and showing their side of things.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. So how do you find the strength and motivation to continue writing and pursuing your goal despite the challenges you face?
Oftentimes I find that the writing is what gives me the strength and motivation to deal with the challenges I face. I constantly having like stories and worlds that I can insert myself into and escape for a little bit from our world is so impactful for my health, and it gives me a lot of strength. And like I was saying earlier, I'm very much like a goal-oriented person. I don't like sitting and not doing anything, and oftentimes I'm forced to with my health, unfortunately. But when I do for too long, I often start to feel very sad and very depressed mentally, and it's not good on my mental health. And writing and reading stories is something that I often can do no matter where I am. If I'm doing really poorly, listening to audiobooks is often very helpful. Just having the stories that can be an escape from what I'm dealing with in our world and being able to have that escape, it really helps to give me the motivation to deal with the challenges that I face with my health.
What advice would you give to others who are living with a rare condition and trying to pursue their passions?
Be kind to yourself and be patient with yourself, which is things that I always keep having to remind myself, is to be kind to myself and be patient with myself. Because even though we may want to be doing more and seeing more and experiencing more, it's important to remember that with these conditions, we're doing so much, and to be patient and kind to your body. Because even if it's not doing what you want it to do, it is still, that's who you are, that's part of you. So be kind and patient.
Mm-hmm. Have your experiences with POTS and GastroParesis influenced the characters or plot lines in your books?
I like to think that they did. I often try and see like the silver lining on things. So like with the GastroParesis, I went on medical leave, and that kind of really sparked the time to really start seriously writing. So it was kind of like this evil, but then finding the good in it. And that's often like the theme that I explore. Like I was saying, I pick more of an evil character and then try and see the good and like find the good in the story. Rule 25, Don't Fall for the Target is the first book in a trilogy, and I'm currently working on the second book. And in the second book, I'm putting in a character who does have POTS. So I'm really excited to be able to share a story with a character who has that. And then I'm also currently working on a new adult horror novel, and the main character is going to be someone with POTS, because running is something that always triggers my POTS condition. If I run, like I'm gonna have a flare up. And I always, whenever I'm watching a horror movie, and especially like those teen thriller, like slasher movies, and like the teenagers are like running away from the danger, I'm like, I would not be able to do that, because I would just say, I don't know for certain if this guy's going to kill me, but I know my body is if I try to run.
Yeah.
So that's kind of been a huge inspiration for this book that I'm working on. So.
Mm-hmm. What do you hope readers will take away from your writing, especially those who may also be dealing with similar health challenges?
I always hope that my books can offer some sort of escape, because that's what reading is so much for me, is it's just like an escape from our world and from what I'm dealing with and from the conditions that I am facing. And I hope that for the readers, it also provides just an escape and an enjoyable story and a ride that they can take where they can forget for a few moments that they're dealing with what they are, because that's what it is to me. And I hope that it can offer that to others as well.
Mm-hmm. Can you share your upcoming projects and future goals with you have for both your academic and writing endeavors?
Yes. Academically, I am graduating at the end of the semester, and I am currently looking into MFA programs, a Master of Fine Arts programs. So I'm hoping to go on and get my master's degree after I finish up here at Pratt. And then for my writing career, as I was saying, Rule 25, Don't Fall for the Target. It is the first of a 3-book series. So the second book, we're currently working to get it ready to go and get it ready to publish. So on my socials, there'll be updates as they become available. And then I'm also working to go on submission with my agent here soon for a young adult superhero story, which features the main character as a supervillain. So I'm also working on that.
So where do you get your inspiration from?
I get it from all over the place. Honestly, like I take inspiration from what's around me and from just random images that I see and from random images on Pinterest. And I get inspiration from reading other people's work and being like, I want to write something like this, but with this different angle and this different take on it. And also from class, from being in school, we get so many different writing assignments and writing projects and writing prompts, and they often can spin out and spiral into something completely different that sparks a whole new story for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it sounds a lot like the Disney, some of the Disney stories. Because they have ones where they do, like, Maleficent is kind of the same thing.
Yes, yeah. Having a villain as the main character has slowly started becoming more popular, which I also really like, because that's what I also enjoy reading is when and watching and consuming is like media where it isn't the typical like princess character as the main character.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. So this is actually going pretty quickly. Don't forget to check out. Let's see. The incredible books, Don't Fall for the Target and Deamon Scout, available for purchase for purchase now. You have also you can also find more engaging content on YouTube on my YouTube channel, Rare Chef. I do some cooking videos also, where I share healthy cooking and alongside episodes of Rare Connection. And if you want to show your support for the podcast, where you can grab one of the exclusive shirts available on Bonfire. Not only will you be promoting awareness for rare conditions, but you will also be helping spread the word about the podcast. Remember that you can listen to Rare Connections on various podcast platforms, or by simply searching Rare Connection. Don't miss out on future episodes featuring more incredible guests and compelling stories. Thank you for tuning in, and until next time, stay connected, stay inspired, and stay rare. Thanks. So, there.